Good evening, everybody. Firstly, I would like to say how lovely it is to have everybody here. Normally, this would be a very different type of event. Apart from the fact that it would be on site, we've always strived to make this evening informal and to some extent conversational. You would have had the opportunity to walk around the sixth form, speaking to current form tutors and subject leaders. The key outcome of the evening is to create those important one-to-one conversations that really help to drive the success in the sixth form. We will do our best, however, to create an evening that gives you a real sense of how the sixth form is run and how we work together with parents and students to create a meaningful experience. This evening, we will hear from Mrs. Fink, a little bit more from me, and I will then hand over to Mr. McGregor, who will be the acting head of Year 12 in September. We will also hear from Mr. Joseph, who is head of Jewish education at Key Stage 5. It is really important that we also hear from students about their experience in the sixth form, and to this end, we will hear from the head boy and head girl, as well as from a student, Sadia Klein, who joined JFS in September 2020, before we finish with some words from Miss Tumin, one of our expert sixth form teachers. You'll notice this evening that our comments section is not live. However, you should have received a link to a WooFoo form, which will allow you to post to us any questions that you have following this event. So I now hand over to Mrs. Fink, our head teacher.
Good evening, everyone. It's really lovely to join you this evening, although I'm not really ever getting used to having these live events where all I can see is a screen in front of me, but I hope you can see and hear us well. This is always one of my favourite evenings of the year, and what I wanted to do, what I usually do, is share with you a short film, but that's proving a little difficult, as is changing my slide. So maybe Mr. Salvi can do it. Thank you. I normally start this evening by showing you a film about a baby who learns to walk. This is the best I could do this evening, but I think it captures really what moving into the sixth form is all about. You won't remember when you first learned to walk. This is a skill you picked up, but took several months to really master. But your parents might remember it, and certainly if you're the oldest child, they will remember exactly where they were when it happened. But sorry, if you're like me and have other children, you might have forgotten along the way, because it's hard to remember exactly about every child. But what does this picture really symbolise? What it symbolises is gaining independence, and I think that that's what's really sixth form is all about. Until now, you've had most decisions made for you. You might have had some input, perhaps into the school that you went to and chose to come to JFS, or maybe you had some input to some extent in your option choices in Year 9. But really, this is the first time that you get to take control. And it's really important that you make informed and good choices about what's moving forward. I actually wanted to also congratulate you all, because I have been so impressed by the feedback I've received from your teachers about how engaged you have remained over the last few weeks when we've had to move back to online schooling and dealt with the disappointment and uncertainty of what is yet to come. But I think that one of the skills that we learn through this time is a certain amount of resilience about how to deal with all the sorts of things that life throws at you. And it's probably the greatest skill that you're going to need, not only in the sixth form, but moving beyond and thinking about your future. So what does it mean to be in the sixth form at JFS? Well, there are things that we can offer you, but there are also things that you can offer us. Being in the sixth form is a huge responsibility, but it's also a huge privilege as well. And I'm thrilled that we have such a fabulous offer for you, led by such a great team with Dr. Walton at the helm. We can offer you an outstanding education, and that's regardless of whether you're choosing an academic pathway, a vocational pathway, whether you have your sights set on university or apprenticeships or something else entirely. we can provide that for you. But in addition to that, there are loads and loads of exciting opportunities that I know you're going to hear about, and lots of support and guidance to help you as you move along your journey. I really, really hope that you get to experience a full and vibrant sixth form experience, and that perhaps we'll be able to move beyond the world of a pandemic come September. But also, being in the sixth form at JFS enables you to give back to a school that I hope has given so much to you. And if you're watching us this evening and you're thinking about joining us, you will hear that it's really easy to integrate well into JFS, even if you're coming from the outside. And the moment you step foot in our school, you are part of JFS and the JFS community, and the opportunities are open to all of you. We want to develop you as young leaders, first and foremost to lead yourselves, but also to contribute to paying it forward and leading the younger students and setting an example so that JFS maintains and strengthens its experience of community. As one of my favourite authors says, you start to get respect by offering something that you have. And a tip, if you've never read Tuesdays with Maury, then by Mitch Albom, I suggest that that's the next book you take a look at. Before I hand back to Dr. Walton, I just wanted to finish off, and I wanted to share a picture with you. Some years back, I was on holiday in Spain, and it was time to go home and drive back to the airport, but my husband and I realised we had a little bit of time to spare. So we thought we would take a slightly alternative route, and rather than going straight down the motorway, we thought we'd go off track and see where it takes us, and as long as we were heading in the right direction, we knew we would get there. As we drove down a very twisting and turning road and came into the clearing, suddenly this is what we saw before us: a beautiful lake and a magnificent castle on the shoreline. I've always reflected that had we not taken that different route, we would have not discovered this beautiful scene. And the message behind this picture is to say that it's really important that you have a plan A that builds your hopes and dreams and aspirations for the future. But part of life is also being able to go with the flow, something I think we've all learned to do over the last few years. And having some kind of plan B, or at least the flexibility to understand that the journey you might take, even if it's not quite the path you set out on, can still be interesting and exciting and lead you to where you are or where you hope to be, and lead you to perhaps even bigger and greater things. I'll end by letting you into a secret. I tend not to share my A-level results. They're not the greatest, and certainly by today's standards, you'd probably turn your noses up at them. But I like to think that even though the path that I thought I was going to set out for myself and has worked out very differently, it hasn't worked out too bad. I'm thrilled to be head of JFS at a time where you're joining the sixth form with such an exciting team, and really have a wonderful evening. I hope it's an informative one and that you get the support and guidance you need. I know you will. So I'm going to hand over to Dr. Walton for you to hear a lot more about what we have to offer you, and I look forward to you joining us in September as fully fledged members of the JFS sixth form.
Thank you very much indeed, Mrs. Fink. So, broadly, what are the aims of this evening? Well, firstly, I'd like to introduce you to the sixth form team so that you know who does what. And as an aside, please don't feel that you need to remember everything this evening. This presentation is being recorded, and we will also write to parents and students closer to joining the sixth form with all of this information. We want to convey a sense of what life is like in the sixth form for students, both from the academic expectations that we have, but also the wide-ranging extracurricular opportunities that are on offer. We want to give you a sense of where this takes you. Joining the sixth form is one of the most exciting experiences for students, and whenever I speak to Year 12, they really convey a sense of how different it is from the rest of the school and how much they enjoy it. But it is also a relatively brief experience, and within 6 months of joining, we are already talking to students about where they are headed next. So we hope you'll gain some insight this evening to how we support students with that journey. Nothing would be possible within the sixth form without the support of a number of key individuals who are fully involved in all aspects of sixth form life and are here to support its students. As I have said, you will hear from Mr. McGregor and Mr. Joseph shortly. However, there are 4 key individuals that I would advise that every student gets to know. Firstly, we have Mrs. Brummer, who is our sixth form pastoral support officer. She is permanently based in the sixth form and can support students with a whole range of day-to-day pastoral issues. Alongside the head of year, she will also work directly with students that require that extra bit of support. Mrs. Marks is our sixth form administrator, but also oversees the UCAS process. She has a wealth of knowledge about the university application process itself and can guide students every step of the way if they are having problems. Mrs. Levick is our post-18 pathway coordinator and sixth form room study supervisor. One of the key areas of her work is supporting students through the Oxbridge Medicine and Veterinary Science application process, as well as running the apprenticeship scheme. She runs a highly successful Futures programme, which Mr. McGregor will talk about in more detail, that aims to expose students to as many industry experts as possible. She runs an alumni programme that includes students that are currently at university who can speak directly about their current experiences, both the opportunities that arise, but also the pitfalls to avoid. We will also invite in students that are currently undertaking apprenticeship programmes or are on a degree apprenticeship. For any attendance issues, Mrs. Bull is your first port of call. She monitors students' attendance at all lessons, including Jewish education. If there are any concerns, she will liaise with Mr. McGregor and Mrs. Brummer. Attendance can be a really good indicator of how students are getting on, whether that is academically or socially. And so picking up any patterns in attendance can really help us to spot whether students are managing their workloads. So, what are the overall aims of the sixth form at JFS? We want to provide students with a broad range of academic pathways that will support the development of their post-18 pathways. However, the sixth form is not just about an academic journey, it is also about developing a range of skills that will be useful both at university and at work. The ability to talk to a broad range of people about a broad range of subjects and to have cultural capital. To achieve that, we run a large array of student societies that cover almost every academic and social interest. We encourage students to get fully involved in this extracurricular life, not only to make their time in the sixth form enriching, but to support the next stage in their journey. As mentioned above, we invest a great deal of time in helping students to make decisions about life after JFS, whether that is at university, on an apprenticeship or at work. Mr. McGregor will talk in more detail about these programmes and what students can gain from them. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, we want our students to grow into fully rounded individuals that can make new friends and participate fully in life. It is a real privilege to oversee this final part of their school journey, and we know how important it is to get it right. We hope that what you will hear this evening will not only give you confidence that JFS is the right place for your child, but also that JFS will inspire, motivate and enthuse students as they grow into independent young adults. I will now hand over to Mr. McGregor, who will talk in more detail about the day-to-day life of a student. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Walton. Welcome to the Year 11 into Year 12 Parents Information Evening. I'm Mr. McGregor and I'll be the acting head of Year 12 at the start of the next academic year. I'm here to speak to you this evening about some of the specifics of the sixth form experience. As you can see on the slide in front of you, we are focused on ensuring that all students in the JFS sixth form achieve high grades in their subjects. And over the last couple of years, we have especially focused on ensuring students that would receive a C grade are supported and aware of what they need to do in order to push themselves and get those higher grades. We ensure we do this through a variety of methods. We have a wide pastoral team, as Dr. Walton has stated. We all have our roles within the sixth form to ensure that our students have regular check-ins and are aware of what they need to do next in order to ensure their grades improve. We have regular data drops and reports, as you will be used to from the lower school, which we use to put academic interventions in place. These can be anything from a small check-in in the sixth form office with myself and Mrs. Brummer to organising full academic interventions with the heads of subject in that area, and also including meetings with parents, teachers and myself, of course. We also offer and ensure that students are aware of what they can move on to. We provide time for students to go to work experience, visit universities, either virtually or in person. And we support them with their mock exams and UCAS exams, which I'll be talking about very shortly. The key points in Year 12 that I'd like to highlight with you are the jump, as we have described it here, from Year 11 into Year 12. We often describe this jump as an increase in challenge and perhaps difficulty as the goalposts from Year 11 GCSEs to the sixth form BTECs and A-levels have changed. It is a noticeable change at the start of the year, and the first academic check-in with students often highlights this. We often highlight this with students and parents. It is something to be aware of moving forward. It's also worth noting that the UCAS examinations in the summer term are used to make predictions for university applications. Whilst these assessments are used, staff take the +1 approach as well as a holistic view of data across the year to ensure that students are getting the fair predictions they receive. Other challenges worth highlighting are the ongoing assignment deadlines monitored by the subjects that teach BTECs, and of course the GCSE resits in November and the summer. There we go. I'm aware that you've received sessions over this academic year with guidance and suggestions on how to best support your child throughout their exam years. Our advice has not changed, but I of course think it's important for us to highlight them at the start of their sixth form journey. You can help your child through scheduling work every evening, encouraging and supporting them, checking in with ourselves, their form tutors and your child as well, and ensuring that they are looking after themselves, taking breaks from their studies in order to engage with their hobbies. In the sixth form, we have a number of methods to support our students throughout their time at JFS. We have our own sixth form wellbeing room, a space in the Montefiore block where students can go with a sofa to relax should they need to, where staff are often available nearby to speak about anything going on. As Dr. Walton said earlier on, we have a pastoral support officer, Mrs. Brummer, as well as a whole sixth form team, each with a wealth of knowledge that we can share in order to support your child with whatever questions or concerns they may have. And we also have access, as they do in Year 11, to the wellbeing team in order for any more one-to-one support they may require. There are a number of things to look forward to in Year 12 in JFS sixth form. Some of the main highlights are in front of you here. The ORT Jump mentoring scheme is where we partner up students with experts in various fields, and they engage with them throughout the year and eventually graduate at the end of the programme itself and make sure that they have gained something, a knowledge of their new subjects. As Dr. Walton mentioned, we run the Futures programme, a 2 to 3 week period where we gather professionals from a whole host of different realms of life and have them available for not only presentations about their job and what their roles entail, but also have them available for a question and answer session from their different careers. Last year we had a whole range of professionals. I'm going to highlight a few that we hope to bring back next year. Danielle Bolkova, a designer from Ted Baker, Amy Belchak, a production manager at Sonia Freeman Productions, Joshua Najli, the economic advisor at the Department for Transport, and Millie Miller, a Band 5 staff nurse working at the Royal Free Hospital. We of course have a number of different leadership options for students. A number of societies, and work experience is something we run for students at the end of the year 12. As stated on the previous slide, we run a whole host of extracurricular activities. And over the last year, we've seen an explosion in the number of societies and clubs our students have set up, showing the desire and wish for in-person and structured, meaningful interactions after the initial lockdown. We also have a large number of leadership opportunities and clubs and societies available, such as academic associates, where students support younger students in their chosen subjects, Year 8 tutoring, paired reading itself, where our students share their interest and love for reading with often Year 7s or Year 8s and support them with their literacy. We have the Head Boy, Head Girl team, which you'll be hearing from very shortly. We have the charity committee with the informal Jewish education programme, as well as the peer education project, where students in the sixth form are educated on mental health, and then they are asked to support individual students in the lower school as well. In addition to these, I want to quickly highlight some of the clubs and societies we offer. We currently have running a chess club, history club, music society, medical society, a extremely popular debating society, as well as a music society and economic society. We have a whole host of different opportunities available to your child should they join us at JFS. Thank you very much for your time this evening. I hope to meet you in person and look forward to welcoming you and your child to JFS sixth form in the summer. I'm going to pass on over now to Mr. Joseph to speak about the Jewish education provision in the sixth form. Thank you again.
Hi, thank you, Mr. McGregor. If you can hear me, just see how I can able to move the slides. Here we go. So just until we get the slides. Okay, excellent. So I wanted to talk to you about Jewish studies provision in the sixth form. First of all, it's not an examined subject. So obviously this presents some challenges, but as well some opportunities for us to be a bit more diverse in what we can provide. The sixth form program is called the Morashah program, and is based upon some words from the Siddur, our prayer book, which is how beautiful is our inheritance, and that really sums up what we are striving to achieve here in the sixth form as they leave JFS, to leave them with an inheritance and a legacy of their Jewish studies. I want to, oops, sorry. So a few of our goals. Number one, to pass on our Jewish heritage next generation, and this primarily takes place within the form of Jewish studies lessons that they have, and during these lessons they will learn about ideas from the Torah, but specifically in how they apply to modern day scenarios and in issues that perhaps will be in the future for them and currently, and that is those are the curriculum-based lessons. Next, we want to encourage each student to find their place within the Jewish community. We have a very diverse body of students, and this means that not everyone has a singular provision that we can give to them. What we are aiming to do is introduce students to a number of different organizations from the Jewish community. It is our desire that through these introductions, they will be encouraged to find their skills and talents useful in serving the Jewish community, and also by doing that, serving themselves, where they will have a pleasure that their skills and talents are being used in a positive way, wherever that may be. So we do have a lot of organizations that come in and do different events for our students. One of the most important things for us is to show that there is no conflict between professional success and maintaining Jewish values. It is very common that anyone who goes through a schooling system will come out with very their goals will be to strive for professional success, and it's our belief that whilst this is admirable, it is not the be-all and end-all of everything, and that the Jewish values that we have should maintain and be a staple part of everyone's lives as they go forward. And I think it's our belief that people may think that in order to maintain these values, that they will have to compromise professional success. And one of the things we do is we bring lots of people through our programs who are successful in many different areas, but have very strong roots in the Jewish community. And this really is a case of us showing, not through theory, but through practical examples of people that have managed to maintain their Jewish values and are at the top of their fields in some of the most desirable fields that our students wish to go into. So, I'll talk about one or two of the programs in a minute. The Jewish studies is not like every other subject in the sense that it cannot be taught purely as a theoretical. It does require experiential education. Some may argue that it perhaps requires more of an experiential education than theoretical. And we have a number of trips and events for festivals. Students will have an opportunity to have interactive experiences to hopefully obviously this right now it's very difficult, but usually we have a Poland trip that is one of the key parts of our provision, where last year I think 208 students went on the Poland trip, and it's a large part of the experiential education, as well as the trips that we do, as well as the people we bring into the building, the events we run during festivals as well. We don't like to teach festivals in a classroom. We would rather have engagement with the essence of the festival in group activities. So that's another one of our goals, is to make sure that it's an experiential education. And finally, our heritage, our inheritance, is a conversation that dates back over 3,000 years, and in a sense, it's our desire that the students that we teach are just the next chapter of that conversation. There are many debates about how Jewish law and Judaism should impact our lives, and these are all well documented and taught. And this is, in essence, is how Jewish studies and how Torah has always been taught, with a conversation. One of the primary goals for us is to allow the student voice to be heard in the classroom, to allow the student to challenge the teacher over some of the ideas that we are presenting that come from the Torah. So these are our goals. Practically speaking, students will have 4 lessons over 2 weeks in year 12. We reduced that in year 13 due to exam aspirations and goals. But one of these lessons is pure curriculum based as a classic lesson. We have enrichment lessons on a Wednesday afternoon, which is usually a trip, and students pick and choose their choices, which type of Jewish experience they want to have in sixth form. And once every 2 weeks we have a Jewish assembly where we engage with speakers and sort of get a chance to do other things. A little bit about some of the options they have to choose. You know, those students that are interested in meeting Jewish professionals in town, we have the Next program, and this has been one of our most successful programs. We take students into the city, they dress up in suits, and they meet some of the Jewish professionals I mentioned earlier that have strong roots in the Jewish community, but also have top jobs in town as well. For those students that are, I guess, a bit more philanthropic in their intentions and aspirations, we have the gift program where, you know, they have a similar ideas. They'll meet people that are at the top of the field in philanthropy and giving to the world, as well as doing things on a Wednesday afternoon that involve making the world a better place. We've recently started a program with JNF that is perhaps for students that have you know, interest in politics and you know, topics like that. For those students that have come from more, I guess, religiously motivated backgrounds, we do, and those students that have picked up religious motivation in JFS, we have in-depth learning and text programs, and we offer a number of different unique programs that are much smaller but very niche, and students have the opportunity to sign up for that instead of their regular JS lesson. And as I mentioned earlier, we put on trips, you know, when we are able to. That are an integral part of our provision, and so that's really it. And like I said, if you have any questions about Jewish provision, please do get in touch. I'm Mr. Joseph, and you can email me at the school. Thank you. I think I'm going to hand over now to, is it Chloe and Jake, if I'm not mistaken? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Chloe?
Okay, we're on, I think. Good evening, everybody.
My name is Jake Gilbert.
And I'm Chloe Fulabash.
And we have come to speak about our experience in transitioning to sixth form at JFS. Through a combination of academic assistance, extracurricular opportunities, and a variety of Jewish studies programs, JFS provided us with a smooth transition to upper school and a constant support network for all students, whether they have been at the school throughout or have moved from another school.
In terms of academia, the JFS Sixth Form offers a number of courses enabling every student to study anything that's right for them. All A-levels, BTECs and other courses are taught exceptionally well by teachers who are always willing to offer support, be it in the lesson, during lunch, break or any other time of day. Although we're currently having to be taught online, you can be assured that that same in-school support is maintained despite a change of circumstance. All sixth form lessons spark discussion and debate, allowing students to extensively analyse a subject of interest through not only classic textbook study, but engagement with other members of the class.
Unlike in the lower school, the academic interest can also be enhanced through the wide selection of societies in sixth form. From politics to feminist society, maths and physics to film, the flourishing student-led societies within sixth form truly allow us to extend our knowledge beyond the curriculum and also learn about subjects that we couldn't officially study for A-level or take a BTEC in. For example, I study maths, further maths, physics and chemistry for A-level, I know, and the teaching that I've experienced thus far has been excellent. Through attending a number of student-led societies since the start of the year, I feel as though sixth form has allowed me to further my understanding of certain topics outside of my A-level syllabus. In Maths and Physics Society, I've learned fascinating concepts that aren't necessarily taught in my courses, and in Debating Society, I've been able to hear debates, some more heated than others, on a variety of topics, as well as debate myself. My passion for music has also been sustained through sixth form, by attending a weekly music society and having private instrumental lessons despite not being able to study it for A-level.
Unique to JFS Sixth Form is also the number of leadership roles offered, which gives all students the opportunity to get involved and develop vital skills. Aside from being on the head boy, head girl team, you can be a prefect, a paired reader, a specific subject associate, a peer mentor which focuses on mental health and more. Each of these roles are fantastic opportunities, and we would encourage every student to get involved with, not only for the sake of helping younger years, but also as a key chance to develop their leadership skills. At the heart of sixth form and JFS is also its Jewish education. Within JS sessions, we still learn about festivals and Jewish practice, but in sixth form, we're able to have more in-depth discussion and debates surrounding topical issues and their relation to Judaism.
Also, unlike the lower school, we're given the chance to choose what we focus on in the JS lessons. There's the JNF programme discussing Jewish and Israeli politics, Jewish philosophy, analysing the deeper and more spiritual questions in Judaism, as well as the next programme getting to know successful business people, and lastly, the gift charity scheme working to understand the practice of the mitzvah tzedakah. Through all these wonderful opportunities, there is surely something to suit every student, no matter how religious.
JS in sixth form also brings the most interesting and encouraging speakers, telling us fascinating stories about their relationship with Judaism, how they've incorporated it into their work life, and what inspires them individually. For me, the Judaism is one of my favourite aspects of life as a sixth former, whether it be working with the charity committee or learning about new concepts and views. Having the ability to engage with different aspects of Jewish life has always interested me, and opportunities like these truly allow me to do so. I found great enjoyment in attending and hosting optional learning groups, such as the weekly lunch and learns. Aside from the great pizza, these talks have enhanced my experience in sixth form by encouraging me to connect modern day life with Jewish belief and providing me an opportunity to think differently to how I would in either my history, English or politics classes.
While all of these opportunities create a brilliant environment during years 12 and 13, JFS also sets its students up for life post-sixth form, whether that means going to university, taking a gap year or doing an apprenticeship. Our careers advisor, Mr. Gardner, is always available to support students at any time. And in careers meetings, you can speak about whatever could benefit your future, from which careers you might like to pursue to which universities best suit you. Mrs. Levick also aids students in the sixth form regarding post-18 options, setting up seminars and fairs with the many universities to help students make important decisions for the future and truly get a taste for life beyond school.
Thankfully, we have experienced a smooth transition into sixth form from lower school. With the great support of the head of sixth form, Dr. Walton, all the teachers, heads of years and pastoral officers, life at JFS sixth form is exciting and nurturing. With its unique block for upper school students only, all students are given the opportunity to blossom and achieve academic and extracurricular excellence.
Thank you very much for listening, and we're going to pass over to a student who joined this year, Sadia Klein.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Dr. Walton, Mrs. Fink and the rest of the team for this opportunity, to everyone attending and those who, of course, organised this event. I moved to JFS, believing it to be, and correctly proven so, a school that encouraged and enabled me to expand on my academic, social and future prospects, alongside truly maximising my existing potential. In addition, it offered a fresh start to what has turned out to be an engaging, enthusiastic and ideal school experience. Consequently, I'm happy as a student and deeply invested in the day-to-day. Furthermore, I appreciated JFS's unique position of embodying Jewish values whilst being a community with arguably the most diversity in UK Jewry, an establishment I'm proud to now be part of. In joining, the school has provided real space for me to cultivate my young adult self. I'm supported in this process by the pastoral team, who love what they do, and especially under current circumstances, go to great lengths to ensure our emotional stability and personal growth. My involvement and interests in extracurricular activities has risen exponentially. It's phenomenal to see and immerse myself in the numerous student-led societies, creative arts classes, and informal education-based initiatives. Moreover, I'm inspired by the level of voluntary participation in these groups, which I believe to be so successful due to their stimulating dynamics and an overall desire among students to develop their interests. Conjointly, JFS places a strong emphasis on peer leadership, an area I'm particularly drawn to, and provides various avenues for this. Within weeks of arriving, it was announced that the head boy, head girl selection process would begin shortly. And although I was the only new student to partake in this extensive process, which naturally was very intimidating, the teachers and students alike were so accommodating and constant sources of motivation. Today, 4 months after joining, I'm honoured to be the deputy head boy. More broadly, as mentioned by all the previous speakers, the school facilitates a wide range of A-level subjects, BTECs and other courses. Whichever pathway, be it academic or vocational, students wish to take, each department is specialised with experienced teachers, comprehensive pastoral support and equipped to the highest standards. There's a real sense of autonomy and individuality to our learning. These exceptional standards extend beyond the curriculum to the wide range of programmes offered to support our mental and physical well-being, plan our further education and careers, and help us to find our place in society and in the wider Jewish community. When I leave JFS next year, there is no doubt I'll feel secure in my direction, whether it be university, a gap year, yeshiva, or the world of work. I'm constantly developing the confidence needed to manage myself in large environments, and this is fueled by the various opportunities for professional insight, career advice, work experience, university workshops, and a unique and malleable JS curriculum. Parallel to this, the school instills an awareness of the elements that will make up our lives after we leave, to manage and take responsibility for ourselves, those around us, and make educated decisions. I am encouraged by my teachers and mentors to think more broadly about my future, my passions and ambitions, and the people I will surround myself with. I'm so grateful for all the school has allowed me to achieve thus far, both on campus and online, and I'm excited for the opportunities and achievements that lie ahead. I look forward to welcoming you in the start of the new year, and thank you all for listening. I believe it's going to Ms. Tillman.
Hi everyone, my name is Ms. Tillman. I'm an economics teacher, and as an economics teacher I'm very much based in the sixth form. Some of you might recognise me from having done cover, but I'll never have taught any of you yet. I joined the school in 2002, and it's quite scary when I realised that for many of you listening, you weren't actually born then. And that was the year that JFS moved to the Kenton premises. So, you know, my teaching career was born along with JFS's new start in Kenton. And I think it's fair to say that probably like some of you, I am utterly institutionalized, and JFS now runs through my blood. And people ask me about that. People say, you know, do you find that teaching has changed, and do you find that the students have changed? And the truth is that as an economics teacher, lots has changed, because when I started teaching in 2002, which I know for many of you feels like economic history, but you know, the word recession was pretty much unknown because economies around the world were doing really well. And then I left in 2008. I didn't leave JFS, but I took a few months off and I was working in New York. And I don't think I realized how significant it was that when I was working in Times Square, which is Midtown Manhattan, and I don't think I realized what was going on when there were video cameras filming people who were leaving Lehman Brothers, which was an American investment bank that had collapsed. Now, it could be that doesn't mean much to you either, but when I came back to JFS in 2009, all we were speaking about was recession. And for me, it feels only like a minute ago, and I can't believe that we're up to the next economic recession. And that's how the economy has changed. So people want to know, well, what about the students? And if I'm honest, from my experience, no, the students haven't changed much at all. I find teaching JFS sixth formers just lots of fun. And I think it's because although people like to talk about the Jewish bubble at JFS and in the JFS sixth form, there are such a spectrum of students. So every year it feels different. The students are different from a Jewish perspective, from an academic perspective, from a socioeconomic perspective. And so it's interesting. And I think although there's such a range of students, the one thing that really is a common factor is that JFS sixth form students have huge aspirations. They want to succeed, they believe they can succeed, and in fact I feel that they think that they must succeed. It's a responsibility, and that makes teaching, people who want to learn and want to be successful in their academic journeys, it makes it really interesting and really fun. I mean, it's quite remarkable that the most popular sixth form activity is the debating society, because JFS sixth formers believe that their perspectives, their beliefs, and their learning matters. Jake was telling you that he is part of the, has been part of the debating society. He was on the team that was arguing in favour of veganism. Now, he didn't totally convince me, but I must say he made an impression, and that's something that I think a lot of you would will enjoy doing and enjoy listening to. I'm sorry, Jake, not a vegan yet. The other thing that I think I really enjoy as a sixth form teacher is there's a lot of us who primarily teach sixth form, or have been teaching sixth form for a long time. So there's all the teachers who teach sixth form only subjects, but there's also subjects which are taught throughout the school where a lot of the teachers have been teaching sixth formers for a long time. So we get involved with your whole academic journey. So for example, in year 12, when students start writing their personal statements, then later on we do interviews so that we can be part of the UCAS reference writing team. And then for those people who apply to Oxbridge, there are often, they're going to have an interview, so we do mock interviews as well. So that's nice. That's a nice thing. It's a nice thing from a teacher's perspective to be involved in the whole academic journey. And I believe for the students, that's reassuring as well. So the only other thing I wanted to say to you is that I wonder if you'll have this moment. You might remember when, you won't have had it yet, but I'll tell you about moments that I have, and you might recognize it when it happens to you. When I first meet my year 12 students, I remember that a minute ago, these people were year 11 students wearing a school uniform, doing GCSEs. And I'll be honest that I have moments when I think, how on earth are they going to be ready to do A-levels? I just don't know how this is going to happen. And I've been doing it for so long, so something inside of me says, this works. So when students say to me, Miss, how am I ever going to be ready to do economics A-level? I say to them, I don't know. I really don't know, but I know that it works. Because at the end of year 13, our students are ready to do A-levels, and they're ready to leave JFS, and they're ready to become independent adults. And I don't know how it happens, but every year it does. And I love being part of that journey, and I hope you guys will also. So I'm going to hand back now to Dr. Walton.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tumin, for that very animated perspective from a teacher. It was just really wonderful listening to you talk in such a warm way about the students. And I think that I just wanted to pick up a couple of things before we sort of close this evening. Although doing an event like this on Microsoft Teams can kind of come across as very dry to some respects, but I think what we have heard this evening, especially from the students and Ms. Tumin, is this notion that the sixth form experience, although it's a very serious one, and of course we know where we are headed with this experience, enjoying it though is really half the battle. Being able to look back on this time and remember individuals and remember those experiences in the classroom is really, really important. And we hope that that is one of our legacies, that we create relationships between the students and their subject teachers that do really last a long time. As Ms. Tumin says, I suppose not a great deal changes about teaching, and I think that if Charles Dickens walked into JFS, if William Shakespeare walked into JFS, maybe even Plato, they would know that they'd come into a school. And so there is something about that system that presumably works, or certainly nobody has come up with a better idea. And I hope that this evening you've had a sense of what a dynamic environment the sixth form at JFS is. I especially want to thank all the people that have spoken this evening, but I especially want to thank the students, Jake, Chloe and Sadia. It is no mean feat at all to be able to kind of come on camera at an event like this and talk with such eloquence about their experiences. So I want to thank them very much for that, and I hope out there there is a round of applause happening for them. So I'm going to close off this evening now. We've managed to give you a very sort of broad overview of what we do in 50 minutes, and I hope that that has whetted the appetites of any students, both internal and external, who are listening. But I also want to absolutely stress that if anybody out there has questions, please do ask. We know that questions at this point, you know, in this transition to sixth form can be quite bespoke, because every individual has a sort of their own particular kind of perspective on what they want to do and what they want to achieve. So if you click on the WooFoo link, which will be hosted, if it's not there already, on the sixth form page, but will also have been emailed to you, we will get back to you each individually about the particular issues that you are raising. But I hope that you have found this evening worth listening to. I hope that it has given you a sense of what we do, and I echo the sentiments of all the individuals this evening who have said that we really do look forward to welcoming you into Montefiore in September 2021. So good night, and thank you for joining us.